Okay, so we are going to start with, you guys did your theory, right? For workbook, the true false.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers to that. So it's going to be true, 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 false, true, 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 false, true, 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 false, false, true, true. Did y'all get that?
Think so.
I think so.
Okay. All right, Sue just said she's having trouble logging in on her her laptop. So I'm gonna just go ahead and turn that down and we're gonna get started, and it's recorded for those who want to come later. Okay, so who attempted to work any of these?
Me.
Hey.
Okay, who attempted to work any of them? I'm sorry. Miss Lisa, you did? Okay, that's fine if you didn't. I don't think I assigned it. I wanted to go through the first few ourselves. Okay, guys, mute yourselves for me, please. And only unmute if you have a question or if you're going to give me an answer or something like that. But I think I went from number 24 and I mapped all the way to 30. So I want to methodically go through those. If you want, there's Miss Sue. If you want to write down how I've mapped it, that will be fine. Hi, Miss Sue. So you can kind of see how that I've done it. And I mapped it 2 different ways to show you how you can do it. And if you don't want to do it at all, then that's you, but this is how I code. This is what I do. Okay, so number 21 says acute renal failure and acute respiratory failure due to sepsis. The first thing that should grab your attention there is sepsis. And why? Because we have to be very careful how we code sepsis, right? So we're going to capture our sepsis first, okay? Because sepsis is always going to be first if there's sepsis involved. So I just simply went to sepsis. Can y'all see? I went to sepsis, and this was general sepsis, and it was A41.9. Okay, now I want to point out my second code is severe sepsis. Why is it severe? Because according to the rules of sepsis, when we drew our little stuff out,
Organ failure.
Right, because we have organ failure, right? So we cannot, remember, we can't just jump from sepsis and just do severe sepsis. We have to show they had sepsis, now they've moved into severe sepsis. So I just went to sepsis and severe, and my code was R65.20. Why can't I put severe sepsis first? Because I have to show regular sepsis first, and then we move to severe sepsis, right? There's an order that it has to go in, okay? So the next thing that we have is we have renal failure, acute renal failure. I went to failure, I went to renal, I went to acute, and my answer was N17.9. All right, what else do we have? We have acute respiratory failure next, right? I went to failure, respiration, respiratory, acute, and I got J96.00.
Okay, I got 2 out of the 4.
Well, which ones did you miss, Miss Lisa?
I missed the sepsis.
Did you code them
I
at
got
all?
the N. The ones I coded were the N17.9 and the J96.00. Now sepsis, I was looking on it, but I kept getting referred to C condition.
And then when you go to condition, it's going to send you, yeah, you just have to follow the rabbit trail. Or you can label your CPT in those areas where there's sepsis. So you don't even really have to look in the alphabetic index to get those, because you know he has sepsis and he has 2 different kinds of system failures, so we know it's going to be severe. So if you go ahead and mark in your A area, the A419s, where you're going to have general sepsis, and then you go into your R65s where you're going to have your severe sepsis, and I think septic shock is there, and just label it with the little, you know, these little tabs, and put on it, you know, sepsis, and then regular sepsis, and the severe sepsis. That way you can just go to it. That's why I love to label and bubble and all of that, and because some of these things are a little harder to find, I don't have to worry about monkeying with the front. I know where it's at. Okay, so let me ask you something. Our last 2 failures, a renal failure and a respiratory failure. Do I have to put renal failure before respiratory failure? Does it matter what order these 2 are in?
No.
It does
I
not
don't
matter
think
what
so.
order those are in. It only matters what order your sepsis is in. You could not put renal failure as a primary. Sepsis has to be primary. If it's part of your medical record, if it's part of your diagnosis, sepsis has to come first. And then you need to pay attention to what else you have besides sepsis. Because I have 2 organ failures here, 2 system failures, then it's severe. So you have to follow those orders. Y'all understand? Just give me a thumbs up.
Like a domino effect.
Yeah, I
That's
got my
right.
order wrong, but I got the right number.
Right.
What does the second one say on your thing? I'm sorry. I think
Sepsis, severe.
it's blurry on the top. Okay, got it.
I'm sorry. I'll take a picture of it, Penny, and send it out so that way y'all can have it. I know I can't. If I go closer, I don't know if I go closer. Does that better?
No, it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about
Okay.
it.
Sorry. Okay. So number
it's fine.
22. Number 22 says a patient with early onset Alzheimer's progresses to combative behavior. Okay. So when you have a disorder like Alzheimer's, sometimes you do not have combative behavior. Sometimes it's just, you know, you're not combative. So a lot of times these things are going to give you with combative behavior, without combative behavior. But I went to disease, I went to Alzheimer's, and then I went down to early onset with disturbance, because she's causing a disturbance with her Alzheimer's, right? My code is G30.0. It's G30.0 for my Alzheimer's, my early onset Alzheimer's with disturbance. Okay, now when I went to that in my alphabetic index, right beside my G30.0, I have FO2.81. That's because she's got combative behavior. A lot of times when you go to your alphabetic index, it's going to shoot those little codes over for you right there beside it to say, hey, look at this. So whenever you go to that, you're going to see that's for the combative behavior. So you have 2 codes, G30.0, F02.81. And I didn't even have to go look for that because they were nice enough to put it right beside the G code for me in my index.
I got those 2 right.
Yay, Miss Lisa, good job. Okay, so let's move on to 23. 23, I think, was pretty cut and dried, even though there were more words. Patient with known hepatitis B is seen in the clinic, complains of joint pain, loss of appetite, nausea and vomiting, and weakness and fatigue. He is admitted to the hospital for severe dehydration. Now, why didn't we do joint pain, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, weakness, fatigue? Why didn't we code all those?
Those are symptoms of dehydration.
Right. If they wouldn't have given us the dehydration diagnosis of why he was being admitted, then we would have had to use those signs and symptoms, right? But since they gave us that definitive dehydration, that's what we needed to use. So I simply went to dehydration, E86.0. Now, do we need to stop there?
No.
Because the patient is also known to have hepatitis B. That is
Right.
something that needs to go on that medical record. So you just simply go to hepatitis and B, and it's B19.10.
Ooh, I got that one wrong.
What did you get, Miss Lisa?
I got M25.00.
Let me look. I'm going to go. Now, I'm out of eyeball shot, but I'm just going right here to my table, okay? We
Okay.
got M what?
Oh,
25.
M25.00. I don't know why. I don't remember how.
Well, that says hemathriosis unspecified. Let me ask you, once you're looking these up in the index, are you going to your tabular and double checking them?
Yes, that's what, yeah, I thought I was.
Well, that's okay, but go ahead and write down the right code, re-look it up to go back and make sure, and you're going to simply go to hepatitis, and you're going to go to B, and it's right there.
Okay.
Okay, so number 24, one of my least favorite things to code is pregnancy things. I don't know why. They confuse me a little bit. As many times as I've had babies, you wouldn't think it would, but I don't like the way it's laid out. Okay, but number 24.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
24. Because I just had this question. Yeah, you got it right. Never mind. I had my first two reversed, but then I had to go look at the notes to tell me that O went before B.
So an
If it hadn't been for
obstetric,
the notes, I wouldn't have known that.
yeah, you have to read your notes. An obstetric patient in her 3rd trimester of pregnancy is admitted for pneumos. Miss Sue, say that word for me.
Pneumocystis.
Pneumocystis is what it looks like to me. So pneumocystis carinii, pneumonia due to AIDS. So right there, we need to pay attention because it says something is due to AIDS, right?
Right.
All right. So her pregnancy is complicated by what? HIV. AIDS. So, even though they don't butt it up together, you can't take it in a little box. You've got to widen your mind a little bit and start thinking about it in a little bit different way. So her pregnancy is actually complicated by AIDS, right? So we're going to go to pregnancy complicated by HIV, and that's going to be 09871. I'm sorry. Let me say it again. 098.713. That is pregnancy complicated by HIV disease. Now, we still have to put HIV in there, which is our B20, right? Have y'all memorized that one yet? You will. B20, so we still need to say B20 because we have to say it's complicated by, her pregnancy is complicated by AIDS or HIV. She has HIV, but she also has this pneumonia. So I went to pneumonia in pneumocystis. The words are not exactly right, but it's the same thing. Again, we can't just think about them sometimes in a little bitty way. We have to think broader. You can look them up on Google and kind of double check it. So that is actually code B59, and it has to be in this order. It's our pregnancy code, it's our HIV, plain HIV code, and then our pneumonia code. So 098.713, B20, and B59. Okay, you guys see how I call it mapping, how I map these out like this on this board? I changed it up a little bit on the other board. This is how I like to do it over here. So I'm gonna move us, we're on wheels. See what I've done? I've just made myself.
This is what I need to understand is the mapping.
Well, I mean, you have to do something that works for you. My way isn't necessarily going to work for everybody. But this is how
Yeah,
I
but-
like to do it right here.
Yeah.
So number 25 says lung abscess due to MRSA. Okay, so I went to abscess, lung, and I got J85.2.
Yay.
Okay, then I went to, well, you have our MRSA, and that's an infection, right?
Right.
So I went to infection, and I went to the Staphylococcus. And under Staphylococcus, there's an MRSA section, a little side note. And I got B95.62.
I got something different.
Well, it's okay. Write it down, write mine down, and then go back and compare the two, Miss Lisa. And if you
Okay.
feel like your code is right, give me a call and we'll look at it.
Well, no, I know it ain't right, so.
I didn't get any
I
of that
never
right.
say
Go back to the board. That's where I was stuck at.
Which one?
Back, there you go. That's what I wanted to see.
Okay, you go to infection, Staphylococcus, and then there's an MRSA little subcategory under Staphylococcus, and it's B95.62. I actually went to infection, MRSA, and did not care for what I saw there. I didn't like what I read in my tabular. So I went back and said, okay, what's a better one? So I went to infection. I said, Staphylococcus. I'm going to try that one. You really just have to get in and dig, just like we did the CPT. Everything's not going to be in a little box. It's got to be bigger. Got to think bigger. Okay? All right. So number 26 is pretty easy. It's cut and dried. It's patient presents for HIV screening. The patient is asymptomatic. So when I hear asymptomatic, I automatically know it's a Z code. If your HIV is asymptomatic, it's always a Z code. So I simply went to screening HIV, and it's Z11.4. Ruby's getting so big, Miss Sue. Okay, did everybody's good with 26? Okay, number 27 says patient presents for follow-up exam following reconstructive surgery to repair hypospadias. Hypospadias. I just want points for trying to say the words. Okay, so the very first thing I know that I need to code is the fact that it's a follow-up examination after a surgery, right? So I go to examination, follow-up, and you're going to see routine and following surgery. You're just going to kind of follow that little line, and it's going to bring you to Z09.
Hey, drop your
I can't
camera.
see.
I can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a picture too, okay? Okay, now that's not the only thing that we need to code. We also need to go ahead and code her hypo stuff. That's the official term, hypo stuff. So it just went to hypospadias, and it's Q54.9. And that one, that word is right there, and that code is right beside it. Hi, Ruby. All right. So that one was pretty cut and dried, I thought. Maybe y'all don't. Okay, so now I'm going to have to move my, Miss Lisa. I thought so, but I'm not saying everybody has to think that. All right. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I really am doing the best I can with the camera. All right, so number 28 says, initial encounter for a 45-year-old woman receiving her first cycle of chemotherapy for pancreatic cancer is seen for the emergency room for severe nausea and vomiting due to chemotherapy. She is admitted for dehydration. Okay, so I just want to tell you that I wanted to fight this one because I knew that I needed to go to my table of drugs and chemicals because she's having an adverse reaction to a drug or chemical, right? Chemotherapy is not there. Chemotherapy is referred to as anti-neoplasm.
No wonder I couldn't find it.
Right. So, but how will you know that? Well, if you go into your drug and chemical after that we do this, right at the top, or write a note that says chemotherapy equals anti-neoplasm. So we have to make notes of some of these things. We're not always going to remember. It's your book, make notes. Y'all know that I'm always telling you to make notes. Okay, but we need to handle our dehydration first, right? Because she was actually admitted for dehydration. So we should already know our dehydration code because we already coded that over there. So it's E86.0. Okay, then we're going to go to our drug and chemical table. We go to anti-neoplastic. I'm sorry, it's anti-neoplastic adverse effects. And it's going to give you T45.1X5. And then you have to do A because it's initial encounter. I think that that's what that means. Hang on. Sometimes the A means something different. And I have to go to my, let me double check it, okay? N451X. The A still means initial encounter. That's what A always means, but I wanted to refresh my memory before I said that, okay? So, but are we done? No, because we haven't told them what kind of cancer she has, have we? She has pancreatic cancer. So we have to tell the insurance company she has pancreatic cancer. So then we go to our neoplasm table. We go to pancreas, primary, and it's C25.9. So this is our story. She's being admitted into the hospital for dehydration. Well, why is she dehydrated? Because she has chemotherapy. Well, why was she having chemotherapy? Well, because she had pancreatic cancer. Does that make sense when we talk about it like that? That's her story for this encounter.
Do it matter what order we put it in?
Absolutely matters what order you put it in. You have to tell them why is she being admitted? She's being admitted for the dehydration. So that's our primary diagnosis. So she's being admitted for the dehydration. Okay, then the insurance company is going to say, well, why is she dehydrated? For chemotherapy. And why is she having chemotherapy? For cancer. Now, in Jada, if she was going in for, let's say, severe pancreas pain or abdominal pain, and it was just due to that cancer, then you would just give the cancer code, right? Because what's going to happen is when you get your medical record, they're going to say she was admitted for pancreatic cancer. Or they could say she was admitted for a severe appendicitis and she has pancreatic cancer. So you would do both. But what she was admitted for is what you actually put first. That makes sense, everybody? Okay. So we're going to number 29. Move my big head out of the way. This is number 29 right here. It says patient is seen in an outpatient clinic with ascites due to disseminated malignant neoplasm. Okay, so you know, sometimes I really have to be transparent. I worked on this one and worked on this one and worked on this one and worked on this one. She's smiling at me and I love it. Future coder right there, ladies. Just watch and see. Anyway, I couldn't find disseminated in the neoplasm table, and it's there just as pretty as you please. But this is how you would look that up. You would go to the table of neoplasm, and you would look for disseminated. primary, C8.0. It's that due to that makes it come first. If she didn't have a malignant neoplasm, or if she didn't have the malignant neoplasm, she wouldn't have the acides. So they, you know what I mean? They kind of go hand in hand. And then you're simply going to go to acides, malignant, R18.0. Okay? So number 30 says hypertensive heart disease with congestive heart failure. Okay, so this is number 30 right here. Okay, so the very first thing that we have to do is go to hypertension, and I misspelled hypertension, so y'all don't look at that. I just noticed I misspelled it. Remember when we talked about hypertension, sometimes a really easy code is I-10. You have to pay close attention because it's not just plain old hypertension. It's hypertension with heart disease. So it's hypertension, heart with failure, because he has what? Congestive heart failure. So that's I.110. But then you also have to code your CHF, which is congestive heart failure, and that's I50.9. Now, I know that I went a little fast because we're already running out of time, but I wanted you to see how I map it so that you can go back and you can look at exactly the steps that I took, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this video up, and I'm also gonna put pictures of the board up, and I'm going to let you start off with that. I know I went fast. I know I'm running out of time. Okay, then I want you to continue to work the rest of your problems. Tomorrow, I will put up a video of the rest of the answers, but I'm not just going to give you the answers. I'm going to tell you how to map them. For example, I'll say number 21, sepsis, generalized, A41.9. Sepsis, severe, or 65.20. So instead of writing it on the board for you, I'm actually going to speak it, okay? Would you like me to do that, or would you like me just to send you a copy of it?
No, show me how you map it.
Well,
I'm
just going to read it out of this. I'm not going to map the whole thing.
Oh. Well, yeah, I want you to map every one of them. I don't want to do the work. You need to.
The baby didn't like that.
There, Ruby says, now listen, Nana. Are you Nana, Grandma, Nana? I don't know. Anyway, so does anybody need to ask me a question right now before we go? See there, she was naughty and Ruby knew it.
The homework is the reports and the study.
No, you don't. I don't have you do the reports. The only thing that you should be doing, let me go grab my book and see what you should be doing today. Sorry, I didn't bring it.
Yeah, the reports are in the back and stuff. No.
Okay, so for today, and today is Thursday because some people don't remember what day it is anymore, and that would be me.
It's work, then weekend, work again.
Okay, so you're going to complete your workbook coding. That's what you have for today.
We did that, but I thought we did it yesterday.
Actually, it says Chapter 5 workbook theory only. Yes, I know you did the whole thing, but it says theory only.
Oh, I thought one of them said theory only, then the other one said practical only. I don't know. I read my own things, I guess.
If you
No, I
look
did
at
say.
lab, if you look at the lab for yesterday, it was the review where you did practical and theory, but not the workbook. You just got it. It's okay. It's all right. You just worked ahead. Well, what I'm going to go ahead and do then, so that y'all don't have to listen to my voice the whole time doing these answers, I'm going to send you a copy of the answers so you can see how to map it out. That way you'll have it on paper and you won't be constantly trying to rush and try to figure out what I'm saying. That works for me too, but that's easier for me. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to let you go. Before I do, I want to say I miss y'all. I'm so glad to see you. I'm always so encouraged when we get to be on Zoom together. So if you need me, call me. Y'all know that, right?
Right.
All right. Have a great afternoon. Mwah.
So, you want me to do the review ones today and turn those in? Because I did the other ones yesterday.
Yeah, do that. I knew that you got it mixed around, but see, I didn't bust your chops about it because I knew how much work that was.
A lot. I said, whoa.
Whoa, yeah. All right, guys, have a good one. If you need me, let me know.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.